One, two, three, boom. I don't know if I don't see anybody in here. Everybody might have stayed home. Maybe they're all thinking the weather's bad, so they just won't even turn the TV on. Well, Shannon, how are you? It's been a
I'm doing
while.
good, Tim. Yeah, I can't complain, buddy. Just kind of hanging out here in East Tennessee.
Yeah, well,
How
I'm gonna
about you?
turn. Oh, we're doing all right. I'm getting by.
Yeah.
I've been kind of gimpy for the last couple of years. Did some damage to my legs and
Oh no.
my, from yeah. So I don't get around as good as I used to, but I'm working on it.
Okay. And I can't see the names. I'm on my phone. So, but Mark is how are you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
I am
Good.
good. It's 2 degrees. Beautiful day.
Wow.
He's got to go out and break ice here after a while
We
for the
don't
horse
have much. We don't
ring.
have much snow, so it's been a pretty mild one for us. Good morning, Miss Tina.
Ah, there's Tina. Good morning, Tina. I'll give people a chance to hop in and see. Um, oh, it's -5 where she's at, Mark. She's got you beat, buddy.
Oh, good, good. I'm glad somebody's enjoying the weather.
Where
Good
is Miss
morning.
Tina located?
She's located in New York.
Ah.
She'll correct me, but I'm gonna say
And
kind of
and the good part.
Finger Lakes area, I think, or mid state, right, Tina? She'll tell me I'm wrong, but Ken McLean, welcome in, sir. I believe
Hey
you're new
Ken.
to
Hey Ken. Good morning.
ah.
Ken. Actually, we met years ago. He took. We'll talk more about fly tying classes, but he took the class. That's where we met. He's recently retired from the University of Tennessee. Glad he could
Oh,
come on.
excellent. And John Surf
There's
Bum just
John in.
he what's he Renzetti's ready. John is he's another big fisherman person. He does a lot of surf fishing, um, and other things. I mean, he goes out on the boat too, and he does a lot of clam digging this time of year. Usually, I
Whoa.
think Mark and John, you can jump in there and correct everything I said because, um, and I don't know what a Renzetti is. Is that a fly tying thing?
It is a vice.
A vice. Okay.
They're known for being, and this is a Renzetti, being
Ah.
a truly rotary vise, meaning the hook stays on the same trajectory. Okay,
Ah, I got you. It rotates on the same plane all the time.
that's right. Yep, yep.
It's sunny. Tina said it's sunny and the wind has died down. She's in central New York, about 2 hours east on the throughway from the Finger Lakes.
We don't mention the W.
Are you near Chautauqua, Tina?
The W. The W.
Wind.
Oh, no. I don't even want to ask you how hard it's blowing out
Yeah,
there.
it's dead calm right knock on
Oh,
wood
really?
now. Yeah, it was colder. It was cold yesterday, but there wasn't any W. And my goodness, it was almost pleasant to be out moving the neighbors' cattle.
John he does a little bit of tying. He says he mainly ties saltwater flies, lefty deceivers, and so on.
We
That
we
like
we're on tap to tie one today, so that's cool. Welcome, John.
that is that a
After Cray,
lefty crave thing? Yeah, I know just enough to be dangerous, guys. But I know the names when I hear them. Is Chuck there with you, Tina? I stayed up. Well, I didn't stay up just for the weather, but I did look at the weather late last night, and it looked like parts of Texas and Oklahoma were getting hammered or
Yes.
getting some of the ice and snow that they were predicting to get here. I don't. She's east of Chautauqua, about 250 miles. You know, New York's a pretty good sized state when you stretch it out a little bit. Chuck will be joining soon. He's at a meeting. Okay. Excuse me. I'm hoping a couple more people show up and manage to get in that they're normal. Hey, Chris. Oh, that's Chris.
I'm on my phone here.
I'm not going to welcome you in twice.
Chris Nichols is here. He's my technological guru, my AV man, and we've been practicing and trying different ways to make this happen. So I appreciate Chris coming out here and bailing me out today.
I was thinking there was no reason whatsoever a bunch of troglodytes like ourselves would need to be on this technology.
And here you are.
And here we is.
And here we is.
And we is.
Tina, I've always wanted to go to some of that country up there. I like the Finger Lakes area, and there's a lot of good motorcycle riding up there.
A lot of good fishing opportunities.
Yeah.
I've been to the Catskills and been to a Joan Wolfe school. Joan Wolfe is still today the best fly caster in the world, and I'm not talking women or men. I'm talking when you're the best, you're just the best.
Now, is she related to the?
And she is all of that.
Is she related to the other Wolf, the famous?
Her former husband, Lee Wolfe. Okay.
Lee Wolfe.
Yeah, if you think back, Tim, how we got started with Lee Wolfe and Kurt Gowdy and Wild and Mark, I know you know all. He was a staple. So that's pretty country up there.
I want to introduce the donut guy. Maple Bacon has shown up. He's our resident Canadian viewer, and he should have donuts to pass out to everybody. Right, Mike. You got the donuts. We're at the foothills of the Adirondacks.
What's the temperature in Manitoba today, Mike?
Yeah, we're comparing temps, Mike. What are you in American degrees? Well, you can give it to me in Canadian, and I'll compute it if I need to. His wife's sitting there. Yes, I came in peace, everyone from Canada. I bring donuts later. I was going to tell you something about hockey, Mike. I saw something, but now I can't remember what it was. I guess it's something about the Jets. They were playing better. They went to the basement, and now they're coming back up, I think. Even Nashville's playing a little better right now, or have been. When I was much younger, my dad would take us to the Fork Lake and go camping. Which is the Fork Lake?
It's up in the Adirondacks.
Does it have a name other than that?
It's Fork Lake was the one.
Oh, okay. Okay. I never.
Negative 17 in Canada or in Manitoba.
Is that Celsius or Fahrenheit?
That's Fahrenheit. He
Okay.
switched it over.
Okay.
That's you probably win today then, Mike, because I don't think anybody's quite that. Nobody else is quite that low down. Good morning, Diana. You got to straighten out something, Diana. Mike said he brought donuts, but we haven't seen them. You know anything about that? Oh, Fork Lake. Yes, different lake. She was thinking you were talking about Fourth Lake. Always, there's a big motorcycle rally on Lake George. I think it's Lake George. I've kind of wanted to go to because it's just because I wanted to go ride up there. It's just such a nice country. The Mike always brings donuts, but he eats. Yeah, that's the problem. John says it's 14 at his place. John, are you guys still on track to get like 2 feet of snow? Because last time I heard you were supposed to get more snow than any of us.
I think
don't
this
know.
system has got them all confused.
Yeah, I don't know. We may end up with nothing.
That thing that Dave sent out was the best.
Most accurate.
The best visual on what the weather was going to do that I've seen in years.
John thinks maybe 8 or 10 inches now. Okay, well, I was gonna wait a minute or two, but I'll see who else made it in. But we'll go ahead and start, and they can catch up. I'm gonna run through a few slides real quick. And I'm hoping I can do this with everybody here. We're gonna find out. And you know how that works with me finding out stuff. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. But we're gonna find out.
Where's the cursor?
Well, we'll work on that in a minute. All right. So, what we're going to do today is here in a minute, we're going to let Dave tie up a couple of flies, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things Dave's done. I'll go touch base on a couple of things. And then we've managed, believe it or not, we've managed to set up a camera in Dave's house, and we can actually see his fly tying device and everything. So hopefully that's going to work out. My usual household chores here, I've changed my picture here and I'm going to let Aldo shoot at the rabbit today. But hit the like button. Think about subscribing and leave a comment. Some of the things I usually do, one of the things I usually do is talk about famous things that happened on this day in history. Like in 1656, the first Jewish doctor in North American colonies, Jacob Lombroso, arrived in Maryland. 1848, James Marshall found gold in Sutter's Mill in Coloma, California, which set off the whole gold rush of 49. That whole thing got, California annexed and populated and messed up probably right from the beginning. The 1890, Mark, you'll appreciate this. In 1890, the world's oldest wooden sculpture was found. It's called the Shiger idol. It's radiocarbon back about 12,500 years ago, which I thought was kind of neat. The is in a peat bog. 18. I just put things I thought were interesting and convenient, and lots of people might have used in their life, and I definitely have used these. 1899, the rubber heel for boots was invented or patented. I mean, everybody's got a rubber heel. sometime or others had a rubber heel boot or a shoe. 1908, Lieutenant General Robert Baden-Powell published Scouting for Boys as a manual for self-instruction in outdoor skills and self-improvement. The book becomes
Good
the
morning.
inspiration for the Scout movement, and we talk about that occasionally because, not because of Scouts, but because one of the other people that did that went by the name of Ernest Thompson Seton, and Mark and I both have several books of his. We sort of collect his books. 1922, Mike, you listening? 1922, baby, the Eskimo pie was invented
In Iowa.
in Iowa, I might add. 1922, it was minus 54 degrees in Danbury, Wisconsin. That's getting pretty cold for the lower 40s.
We had 2 weeks of that in a row a few years back. And that you step outside and your body goes, get back in the house.
I imagine it does. This is another important one. 1935, the first canned beer, Kruger's Cream Ale, is sold by American company Kruger Brewing Company. First can of beer was sold in 1935. In 1950, the U.S. patent is awarded. I can't read that. For the invention of the microwave oven. Now, where would we be without the microwave oven? So, now, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about this, but some of the stuff Dave does, and I don't know if Shannon is involved or not. I think Chris is. Some either a member or something. But Dave, one of the things Dave does is help teach fly tying classes for his local chapter of the Trout Unlimited organization, who is a conservation group. They've been around since 1959. They started out in Michigan. And I won't say this right because there's 2 ways to say it, but it's either Ausable or Asubali, I think is the French pronunciation, river. 16 guys that were like to fish together, and I guess they all got together and started talking about it and said, hey, we need to do something about this dirty water. Today, there's about 150,000 members and roughly 400 local chapters. I don't know really much about this person. The reason he's in here is because he was credited with one of the early fly tying books or manuals that was printed in the 1800s. His name's on here somewhere, and I don't know if I'll find it or not.
Frederick Hofford.
Oh yeah, right there at the top. See how tricky that was. So one of the things,
you make words out of them letters, and
but you know, as we've discussed, words are hard. So some of the stuff Dave's going to be using today are tools similar to this. That picture on the left is an example of an early fly tying device that was in that book that Mr. Hartford wrote, or Halford, whatever it is, Halford. That's like on the front cover piece of his book. This is a more modern style kit device, and a small kit that you might pick up from like Bass Pro Shops or something. In fact, I think that one is a Bass Pro Shop. But you can get them in all kinds of other fishing stores and places. Dave, you can speak to this, but does Trout Unlimited sell kits and things as a money raising effort, or do they not? Do they stay out of that part?
They do. They stay out of that kind of merchandising. They leave that to the private sector. But where Trout Unlimited does come in, it is teaching folks how to tie flies. And when I'll come back on. I'll open up with a couple words about that, Tim.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't gonna. Yeah, I wanted you to do that. I just wanted to touch on it. And let's see what's head on here next. And this is an example of how he put in the old book, Hoffer's book. This is an example of how to tie a fly. It shows all the parts of the fly. They're listed over here on the right, and all the hackles and the things that I can't tell you what they are because I don't know how to tie flies. I don't tie flies. I should. I don't know why I never did, but I never have.
Because Bet's poppers were cheaper.
Because Mets poppers were cheaper and they caught what we wanted to catch, buddy.
Bets.
Excuse me. And this is just a fly tying table desk. And I bet there's not, well, I make a liar out of myself, but I bet there's not 10 fly tying desks in the country that are that neat. I just don't believe that, but maybe they are. And this is just an example of we're not going to see one of these necessarily, but that's a close-up view of a fly in the vise. And I don't know if it said I don't think it said what hook size that actually. If it says a number 10 Adams dry fly, guys, is that a number 10? That's not a number 10 hook, is it?
Exactly, it is, Tim.
Oh, it is a number 10 hook. Okay. Yeah. Which is a larger hook. You tie little bitty, teeny tiny hooks, like a 20 or 22s or something, don't you?
I do. This pattern with those wings and hackles, Tina will appreciate this. This is a classic Catskills pattern. Okay, these are tied in all sizes and colors to imitate a mayfly, but this was invented in the Catskills.
Oh, cool. Well, I just wanted to use that as an example. I got two more people. Kay Atwood has shown up, and Mary Ellen, T-Town Mary Ellen has showed up. Good morning, ladies. Thanks for dropping by. See Mike for the donuts. I think he was about out, so I didn't take any. Hopefully he left some for you guys. And let's see. And that's all I had for that, Dave, because I'm going to try to present you now on the screen a little bit more.
You've got to show that other slide so that we can see.
I am, but not. Well, okay. I'll tell you what. I'll go ahead and show it, but I was going to save it for later, but I'll go ahead and show it.
I want to see Shannon get all worked.
Shannon, settle yourself here. Settle yourself. I'm warning you. I'm glad you're sitting down.
There you go. Yes.
That looks like up on the Wiggins Fork or somewhere.
Well, that's supposed, like I said, that's supposed to be a Yellowstone cutthroat.
You could get eaten by a grizzly bear in that spot.
Well, then it would be worth it.
Very good.
Dave thought you'd appreciate that, Shannon.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to catch. That's on my bucket list.
Yeah, well, that's, bucket lists are good things to have. All right, now let me see if I can do this right, Dave.
Okay.
And this may take me. You guys bear with me because it may take me a minute.
Oh,
there we go.
Looking good. I myself may not be centered exactly right, but
you're all right.
That's where we're headed. Say a few words. Tim mentioned Trout Unlimited. I'll be brief. They're not a fly fishing club. They're not a fishing club. They're a cold water conservation organization. One of the things that our local chapter here, and I'm in Clinton, Tennessee, north of Knoxville, our number one fundraiser every year is an intro to fly tying, where we teach from this manual. Okay, we teach folks to begin to learn the art of fly tying. There's 9 patterns in here.
Dave, hang on. Wait, Dave, hang on a minute. Sorry to interrupt. Got breaking news here on the donut front. I didn't see this till just now, but there's been an occurrence. Apparently, Mike went to pick up the donuts. The box was in his car. By the time he got home and into the house to offer them to everybody, the box was empty. And he doesn't know what happened. So now they're looking into calling the law.
Yeah.
And seriously, he said, I don't know what happened. But he's got a stomach ache. Reckon why that is. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dave, but I had to throw that in there.
No, and I have here at the house Chris Nichols helping me with all the AV and engineering, but I did have him out in the front yard looking for a drone to drop some donuts. So we'll bring him back. We'll bring him back in, and I'll go on then. And I'm sorry to hear that about the great donut heist of 2026. Right?
Yeah, that I don't know. I'm suspicious that happens a lot with Mike. I think there's something going on there.
So Trout Unlimited, this is a really neat course. You say, well, how do you learn if you didn't have a father, an uncle, a grandmother, whatever, who tied flies? How do you learn that? Of course, in today's world, we all know about YouTube videos and fly shops teach classes. This is a 7-week course, and we tie 9 patterns. And so the instructor, like I'm going to do today, is tie a fly, and then the participants in the class, with one-on-one instruction, they tie the fly while there. They go home and tie 5 more. That's homework. Come back the next Saturday, et cetera, et cetera. We repeat the process, but it's a neat way to learn. I learned to tie at a fly shop also in Knoxville, Tennessee. That was 1992, I believe. So there's a lot of ways to learn. A variety of books are out there. This is kind of an interesting book. And what I like about this book, you could go to a pattern. I just randomly went to a page. It gives you step-by-step directions, but it says bundle fiber tails. Okay. So keeping this top page where it is, that you can see how to do that. That is on page 62B. You go. I'll get us there here in a second. I know you go.
Dave, I've never had a book like that, Dave.
It's a half and half. Who thought of this is a genius, and it lays flat on your fly tying bench.
Yeah.
So you never lose this page, but you can follow along at the bottom. I just thought that was
Mark. We should have thought of that.
that somebody had their thinking cap on. So
sure did.
One of the things with fly tying is you can develop your own flies. You can make twists and turns. to existing patterns, and you can learn classic patterns. And so all of that's open. I'm going to start with the fly, kind of a newish, interesting uh, phenomenon that we discovered. Shannon can speak to this. And here in the East in 2021, we had an emergence of a periodic cicada. A cicada, completely terrestrial. They have no interest in the water at all, but they're not a very good flyer. And when they are close to water, they oftentimes hit the water. And fish have figured out it's pretty big, pretty big terrestrial. That hey, there's meals falling out of the sky, and we're going to eat them. So 2021 was Brood X. We were also fortunate in our area 2024 to have Brood 19. 2025 this past year, Brood 14. Most of what I'm going to be tying, we'll see how far we get. Doldrum days like this in the winters, great fly tying days, and we're thinking ahead, right? We're thinking about spring hatches and summer, and we're tying up boxes of flies, getting ready for that. I'm going to start with this fly. Just to think back about 2025. 2020, so there are periodic cicada, 17, 13-year broods. That's when they come out. Okay, they live underground the whole other time. So when they come out in force, different broods, different locations. And it was just really, really neat to expand our fly fishing experience to this. A lot of this was smallmouth, largemouth bass, sunfish on lakes, and carp. A lot of carp, which carp hitting the top water was really exciting. It was just fun. I'm kind of reminiscing back. There will not be a hatch in 2026. There'll be a limited one in 2027. And then for about 3 years, I think we'll be in pretty good shape. This is an East Coast phenomenon. Okay.
Dave,
And
I have a question. My hand's up.
please, okay, I don't see a hand. Jump in.
Yeah, I know you don't. Quick, just on that point, we've talked about cicadas a little bit. How, by looking into that stuff, and I never dreamed that people would actually be studying these things when I was growing up or whatever. How often does we get a year where there's no broods hatching off anywhere in the country?
Yeah, and it does happen. Probably on an ever rough math here, Tim. Every 3 years or so, there will not be one.
No, really, I didn't know. I didn't realize that.
Then when they are, some of these, what we're talking about, 2021, 2024, 2025. Was really in our backyard. And Shannon and I each year spent a week, took vacation, spent a week chasing these where they were. It's almost like hunting. Okay, you have to hear them. They're very loud. You have to hear them, and then you have to see them hitting the water. If you hear them and they're way up on a hillside, we're in a mountainous area, and they're not close to the water, well, it's not going to work. Fish aren't interested. They don't know it. They're not seeing them. So you're scouting these areas out. If you say, well, in 2025 they're on Norris Reservoir. Norris Reservoir is 809.2 miles of shoreline. That's not overly helpful. But where are they? Where are they? And they're very vulnerable to development. Okay, meaning if there's a brood and they come out and they go underground for all of these years, and then they build a Walmart and they pave a parking lot. Well, that they're done. Okay, there's no way for them to get out again. So, looking at public lands on Norris, looking at TWRA areas, places at state park area, places that aren't getting developed. So, yeah, there's whole, and there's other times. Yeah, it's going to happen that year, but that's going to be in Arkansas, and that's about as far west as they go, or New York. I mean, yeah, we'll have to travel years to come to find them. Being a fly tyer, what was interesting, Shannon's developed patterns. I've developed patterns. Chris has fished with us. We all kind of came up with something, and it was really fun to think about. Wow, how do we do this? So I'll start tying. We can talk. Jump in anytime. What I've saved us some time this morning because this pattern needs a lot of glue and sit up time, but we're going to use a hook. This is a popper hook. You see that bend behind the eye? There's a bend in that hook. What that does is holds the popping head in place. So you put glue on it rather than you sitting here watching glue dry all morning. I've gone ahead and started that part. I'm using what all of this is available, a double barrel popper. I really like this popper in that I tie it exactly as a popper. But I could have turned this head around and it would become what we call a slider, meaning it would dive under the water a little bit. This will be pushing water. And I'll share a book. This is really cool. Talking about people following things. This is Dave Lazinski in Pennsylvania. This book has 50 cicada patterns in it. Talks about how to fish them, shows where they're going to be coming off, when they're going to be coming off. That's a pretty formidable bug. We're going to focus here on the eyes, the wings, the legs here in just a sec. But 50 patterns. I came up with this one. Shannon actually talks to this gentleman. They share information. He was in Tennessee last year, 2025, because that's where the bugs were. So thinking about that bug, focusing, what do they have? Well, they have big red eyes. So what I've done is just taken a pen, a straight pen, colored it red. I'm going to cut off a little bit of that, put a dab of glue on.
Dave, while you're doing that, can I?
Yep, keep going, Tim.
These bugs, are they usually in an area where you're going after targeting a specific fish? like carp or catfish or something?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
So they're gonna be in a reservoir, so we know what we're fishing for. And I will say, in 24 and 25, I did have an opportunity. 24, Shannon and I were able to catch trout on the Caney Fork. That's close to Nashville,
oh, cool. I love the
Tennessee.
cane
They were
fork.
coming off there, and then the Wolf River in Kentucky that have trout. So you know where the two lines up. Really, that's where I'm most happy. So look at that big red eye.
Mark and I talked for years about fishing the Caney Fork.
Well, they worked on the dam, and it wasn't fishing well for a long time. It's come back. It's come back splendidly.
You
Uh,
know, Mark, that's that river you cross so many times traveling on I-40.
Five, I believe, if
Five times. Yeah,
my
five
math is
times.
right. I'm going to tie some thread on.
John says he uses something similar to that for popping for bluefish, which drives them crazy, he says.
Yes, yeah.
Mostly in red and white colors with a little silver flash,
I
flash
uh,
blue.
Shannon and I recently went to Louisiana, and we're after bull redfish, and we picked some up. But we found out while we were there, there are certain times of the year that even the redfish are hitting popper patterns, okay, top water. And that really intrigued us. We're looking forward to getting back. Um,
And what were you doing there, Dave? Wrapping a wire on the hook?
I'm just wrapping thread, okay.
Just
And
thread, okay.
I'm going to go down here, and you saw that their bodies are black and orange, and different broods have a different amount of. Some have more orange than others. I'm using a material here, Estes, which is really used for saltwater patterns, but I can get that. I'm going to get that black, and depending on the year, I'm going to trim this is like chenille. If you've worked with chenille, very similar. I'm just going to come up. I'm going to take a couple wraps of the black, and I'm going to tie it off. Okay.
See, now I'm a gearhead kind of guy, and I've always been fascinated by all the tools. So I have a question, Dave. In my research this week, I looked up some tools, and one of the things I discovered was that at least some of these fly tying outfits actually cater to left-handed fly tires. They sell left-handed scissors. Do you have a pair of left-handed scissors?
I don't, because I'm one of these messed up people. I'm actually using my thread right-handed. I'm a
Mm.
bit ambidextrous, so I play racket sports with my left hand. I write with my left hand. I eat with my left hand. I baseball, basketball, other things I do right-handed. So somehow, when I was taught to tie, it never occurred to me to put. I'm going to put a little same thing, but orange. You need a little orange in it. So I'm mostly a right-handed fly tire.
Mm.
This is
Interesting.
a bobbin. It holds the thread. It keeps things in place. If you're a gearhead, fly fishing's your friend. There's all kinds of tools here.
Oh,
Uh,
that's what caught my eye was the because I like neat tools.
There's a tool for everything. I'm going to show you several with just this one pattern.
John thinks that's a fancy looking bobbin you got there.
It is a fancy bobbin. I have all manners and kinds of these. They make them pretty fancy. It just something to cradle. Now I'm going back to black, folks. It's a cradle for the thread. When Tim, you were talking about the 1800s, even well into the 1900s. Believe it or not, before this invention, people would have a button, like a button off your shirt, a tie sewn down onto the fly tying table, and they used this thread without the bobbin. And when they needed to stop, like I've just stopped, they wrap it around that button. Much better right here, much better.
And that would hold it in place for them till they got
the materials called up. So here we have now the body. We have some orange. That's important. We have some black, and I'm going to go ahead right here and tie it off. So for our gadget heads, this is a whip finisher, okay, and it spins around, okay, and I'm going to hold it so that it doesn't spin. I'm going to hook the front of the thread on that hook on the back. Now I'm going to let it spin. And what's going to happen, I'm tying a knot. So I'm not losing the work I've already done. You're going to see this time and time again today. 3-4 turn whip finish is going to hold everything in place. I come up, I back off the back, come down. There's your knot.
That's almost as fascinating to me as the sewing machine. I've never figured out how a sewing machine works.
That's almost cheating.
So we've got that. Now, what else did we notice though about this bug? The thing that always sticks out to me is look at those legs. It's like this thing goes to the gym, right, and lifts weight. They're not long. They're not long legs, but I mean, they have to crawl out of the ground. They crawl up a tree. They molt. Then the wings, and so I think the legs are very formidable. And here, all I'm using rubber bands for fly tying. So I have them the color. I've already put the knots in it, okay, to save us some time today. So how are we going to get this into where we're going? I have a tool, okay, and it's a threader. A needle would be fine. Now I'm thinking here, golly, I've got a hook in here somewhere, but I want to come in and I'm going to drive, I'm going to make a hole.
I know what you're getting ready to do.
Then another very, very technical tool in fly tying is floss. Okay. This is how you clean your teeth, right? So I've got this floss. I'm going to put it in, and I'm sorry with the camera and everything. I'm in. I'm going to take the rubber band leg. in my fancy Walgreens device. And I'm going to pull it. I'm going to pull it through.
Look at that.
Okay, we're in. Now I'm going to get all of this centered and cut in a minute, and we're going to put a little glue on. But there's kind of where we're at. And now I'm going to come back. How many legs do a true insect have? And a cicada is a true insect. 2 wing like a grasshopper, 6 legs. So I'm going to put another.
The black spots that are on those rubber bands, Dave, is that to simulate the black spots on a bug, or is that just a coincidence?
So it kind of, you kind of look at the real bug.
Yeah.
There's some black and some orange. That's all I'm trying to emulate.
But you buy the rubber bands already colored up that way.
That's right. And all I did was tie a knot in them.
Excellent.
And this time I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to try to get 2 through. If that doesn't work, we'll make another hole. But
And I'm assuming that's a foam head on that popper.
it is a foam. It is.
You're able to stick the pin
It's
through.
pre-cut. It's pre-cut. Double barrel popping head. All righty, I'm back in. We're going to go again. Okay, we're going to adjust this just a bit. Let me get. Okay. So now we have 6 legs. Let me get all the adjustment right here. So we kind of line it. They're stout legs. They're not real long. We don't need that much. What we're going to do is cut.
Just like everything else I've ever gotten involved in, I'll find out there's just all kinds of things for me to buy.
You'll never run out of them.
Fancy rubber bands.
That is a very common misconception about fly tying. You get into it thinking you're going to save money on tying your own flies. No.
No, I can already tell that ain't gonna happen.
Okay, and we can adjust those and go on and on. But here, what's the other thing we see that's predominant about the cicada are those wings. Those wings are longer than the body. There's actually 2 sets of wings. When they hit the water, Shannon, you jump in here at any moment. When they hit the water, well, they weren't intending to go to the water. They crashed, okay? And they're buzzing around. They're not going to get off the water. Maybe in moving water, they could roll up against a log and ever so often save themselves. Generally, when they hit the water, they're done. So those wings, unlike the picture I showed, the better patterns have the wings splayed out. So all I've done, cut a rubber strip, and this is all this is crystal flash. And notice on the ends, if you could see that, I have orange in the middle. I have white. That's about what their wings look like. So I'm gonna trim this to, and these wings right at the moment are way too long. So I'm going to come up, and I want them to be a little rounded. I'm just going to simply use my fingertips and get these things lined up here.
My wife's come into the chat. I was going to let her see watch how many cool things I could buy, babe.
I'll tell you what, it's a rabbit hole. And the thing about it is, when you get in it, you'll never get out of it. I mean, that's the thing, with fly tying, and I'll show an example here in one sec. But they're constantly coming out with new materials. A lot of stuff. When we started out, most of it was some kind of fur. We will be tying with fur. Some of it feathers. So kind of natural stuff, and all of that has evolved over time. So here's how I want to sit these wings is out. Okay, they're splayed. The fly's in trouble, and let me put a little glue on the head, and we're going to tie it down.
Brenda, I think you'd probably be good at this. You were good at beadwork too. You probably couldn't get into this just from that angle even. I mean, not just to go fishing, but just for the fun of making flies, tying flies.
There's two kinds. Let me hold this down for a moment and think of something to say. Therein lies the problem. But there's two kinds of flies. Okay, one kind of fly that I tie is a fly to throw. Okay. But then a lot of people tie flies to show.
Yeah.
Okay, really, I mean, I'm not kidding. Works of art.
Well, it's almost like duck decoys.
Yeah, Tim. Yeah.
You got duck decoys that you hunt over, and then you got the ones you show off. And my oldest daughter, Jennifer, her husband's father lives in Louisiana, and he is a master wood carver. He carves ducks. They call them decoys, but they're never going to go in the water. And he shows them, and he's won a lot of awards for them and stuff. He's really pretty good. Mark's done a little bit of that too. He's good at it.
Oh, I bet, Mark. Yeah, I tell you, and they're worth a whole lot of money, right? They can be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So flies, I could imagine that while they may not bring the kind of money that a duck decoy does, I could see why the interest in that and people competing. I could see how that would happen.
It will. So I have this tied down. We're about done. I'm going to off camera do a little bit of trimming. Here's yet something else, and we'll be using this. I don't know how many. I'm prepared to tie flies till about 6 p.m. this evening, but
We might not go that long.
I won't beg your indulgence, but kind of a newer tool. This is, and the reason I kind of prepped this and didn't like the next fly, I'm going to start from start to finish. I didn't cause so much time here is watching glue dry. So when I really tie this pattern, I'll tie that popping head on. I'll tie 6 of them, right? Let the glue dry, do the next step for 6. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't want to sit here and watch glue dry, but this UV stuff, it has come out, really changed fly tying. This happens to be yellow is the color. Why am I putting yellow on this? There was no yellow on the real bug. Fish aren't going to see this, but I can see it. Okay, this is strictly just for me, and I'm going to I'm going to put a little bit on at a time. And I'm really stiffening this wing up. Shannon can attest. There were days I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Hey,
Tim?
Yes.
Hey, Shannon just texted me. He's having microphone issues right now. For some reason, somehow, we're not hearing him.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, on my end, it looks like it's turned on. I don't know.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
So
Hang on a minute, Shannon. Let me make sure I don't have something.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, I'll tell everybody else. I put this resin on. It needs to be cured. This is a UV light, okay, that's made for this. This is going to harden it up in a hurry.
Shannon, I don't know what's doing that. On my end, it's not showing anything. And we did hear you earlier, didn't we?
Yes.
Nod your head. Yes, I thought so. I don't know. Mark's muted, and I have one of Dave's mics muted so they don't echo. But yours is showing to be live on my end.
And this cure is going to go quick. So,
and I've got his volume set to where it ought to be about the same as yours.
So I really fortify this fly. There are days that this might be the only fly I tie on. Okay, we catch fish all day long.
Chris, can you hear me, Shannon? Not sure if he can. Chris, send him a text, and he may have to go all the way out and come back in.
Okay.
Oh, there he did. He just did that.
He did say that someone called him, and then when he got the phone, when he came back to the
that's my fear with using the phone is, people's going to be calling all day wanting to talk about the weather. So anyway, that's it. That's the cicada. That's kind of thinking back about last year. And,
Shannon, say something. Let me see. He's still off. Any chance you've got a Bluetooth device hooked up that's on, maybe? I'm not sure, Shannon. I don't know what would do that. He left. He'll come back. I'm thinking. Okay, so the phone will automatically mute you, and you have to unmute yourself. Well, that may be it too, Tina.
Were you going to tie next?
I'm going to tie I think I'm going to tie the Holy Grail. We'll see we'll see.
Shannon, can you see your mute button and it is good? Okay. I don't know what's causing that other than that. I mean, all the mute buttons look good, so.
Yeah, it's too bad. Because Shannon's my main partner in crime on this cicada hunting. I'm sure he had good things to say. I'll tell you what. Let me do. Let me go with the Dunning pattern. I'll share. Then I'll do the Holy Grail next. I think we're okay for time so far, because especially having a saltwater fisherman on the line.
Dave, while you're doing that, Dave, was this these cicadas that you guys were fishing? Were you shooting for? Were you fishing for big carp, or were you fishing for something else?
It was big carp was the was the primary.
That's a big hook.
I caught my personal best smallmouth with this pattern I just tied.
Oh, cool.
My personal big
that.
largemouth. And don't be overly impressed because I don't fish for those species a lot, but yeah, they were wired in. They were wired into it, so that was fun.
Hey, Tim, Shan says it says the host can only see me. Add the host can add to the stage at any time.
Yeah, I thought I had him.
Can you hear me,
Shannon? Yeah, I can. Okay, I can now.
Awesome.
Well, I may have. I thought I had you in the stage, so I'm sorry. I must have done that.
Well, I don't think so. Somebody called me and it kicked me out, and then I had to come back in. So,
Shannon, I'm sorry. Did you have something to say? I told everybody you were my main partner in crime on this cicada. Did you want to add?
I guess I mean it's kind of like I'm late adding this in, but I just wanted to kind of reiterate that these cicadas, when Dave said a 17-year cicada and a 13-year cicada, that means that they only emerge every 17 years. And Dave mentioned that they lived in the ground. They basically, um, they basically every 17 years they emerge, and they emerge, I mean, in the millions, and everything eats them. Dogs, cats, snakes, birds,
Yeah.
everything eats them, and um their strategy to survive is to have so many cicadas out there that all the animals can't eat them all, and so and every now and then these cicada broods overlap each other. So, like in 2024, there were two cicada broods that emerged and they overlapped. And the last time that they had overlapped was over 250 years ago. And when Dave was saying we have to go out and hunt these cicadas, we've got a limited amount of information because back in the early 1900s, the Department of Agriculture actually tried to start recording where these cicadas emerged, and so in the 1940s they lost funding for it, and so basically until from 1940 until now, there's not a lot of information. So you can go out to the Department of Agriculture and kind of find out what counties they were in the 1940s. And then there's a couple of sources online now, but like, and basically there were graduate students, maybe 20 or 30 years ago, that went out and drove along the roadways and tried to identify where these cicadas were emerging. And so what we have to do is take limited information from the 1940s and some graduate students going out and driving along the roadways to find where these are emerging, and try to figure out where these cicadas are overlapping around the water. And so it's just been in the last few years that there's this citizen science thing and an app that's come out to actually tell you, and people can go out and take a picture, and there's a GPS location of where those cicadas have emerged at the time, but there's limited information even now as to where these cicadas are. And so, me and Dave have spent many hours on the phone, trying to put these pieces of the puzzle together of where are these cicadas going to be, and we've got stories from friends, hey, I remember on Norris Lake that this brood emerged in this year, but really it was 17 years ago. And,
Yeah.
you really can't remember, these people can't remember to the date, when these cicadas emerged. And so, it is such a cool ordeal to go out and try to find these cicadas in an area that they overlap with water, and the fish are keyed in on them. Not every place, just like last year, we went to Norris Reservoir, and not every place on Norris Reservoir, the fish were keyed in on them. And when I'm saying fish, mainly carp. And, Dave's getting ready to tie a saltwater fly, and and the saltwater fishing deal is mostly sight fishing, right? And you're pulling along in a skiff in shallow water, and you see the fish, and you have to cast ahead of the fish, and the fly lands in front of the fish, and they see it and they eat it, and you're seeing the whole thing. Well, we don't have that much of an opportunity here, um, in freshwater, to do that. And so this cicada emergence offers that opportunity, because these carp, they're just cruising along the top of the water, right at the water surface, and you're seeing them. And it might be a 20-pound carp. It's just cruising along the water surface, and they're looking for these bugs. They're looking for these cicadas. And you get to cast in front of the carp, and the carp comes over and sucks that fly in, because this fly is laying on top of the water, and you see the whole thing. And then you've got a 15 or 20-pound fish on the end of your line. And
That's
I
fun.
mean, it is a fight. So anyway, I'm sorry, but I couldn't talk, and I'm so excited about these cicadas that I really can't hardly control myself. A lot of people don't think that carp is a good sport fish.
They ain't never
Carp,
had one on the end of a fly rod
yeah,
either.
yes, it is such a cool thing, and you see the whole thing happen. And I just want to mention one more thing, and I know Dave's getting ready to tie another fly, but Dave kind of he mentioned it a little bit, but fly tying is an art, right? And there are patterns, just like you showed, Tim, in the beginning. There are patterns that are kind of standard patterns. Um, but the fun about tying flies is you get to be creative. Even though there are standard patterns out there that you can use, you can always create your own pattern, right? A pattern that you feel like may be a little bit better than the standard pattern. And Dave, the fly that he tied, um, is a creation that he made on his own, right? This isn't one that he saw out of a book. Now, there's plenty of examples of a cicada pattern out there, but Dave created this fly all on his own, and with just his imagination, right? He's coming up with the material that he wants to use. You know, he's trying to figure out what hook he wants to use. You know, um, what and so he came up with this fly, and in Brood X was early 2000s. He came up with this fly, and we were on Fort Loudon Reservoir, you know, and this was when we were first learning how to catch um, these carp and smallmouth and largemouth on this fly, and we were in the boat together, and uh, and so we, I don't, if you've ever been chasing these things, it's like you'll go in one cove, and that cove is full of cicadas, and there's fish eating them, and and then you'll go, you know, the next cove up, and they're not there. So it is very specific to where these flies emerge, and so anyway, we had found a cove, and we'd caught a few fish, but let me tell you, these carp are very, very smart. They know the difference between a live cicada, a real cicada, and a fly. You know, they'll come up, they'll they'll come right up to the fly, and they'll look at it, and they'll just refuse it. And you know, that's heartbreaking, right? Well, because this is a 20-pound fish and you wanted to catch it. Well, but we had all these refusals on these flies that we had tied based on patterns that people had already created, and so Dave, he had already been working on this fly, and it's evolved since then to what he tied right then. But we drop a guy off that was in the boat with us, and we were down to next to Fort Loudon Dam, and you know, we were out searching for these um, carp eating the cicadas. And so Dave ties on his pattern. You know, Dave, what are you calling it? Is it the Harrell cicada? It's
The
something like
Harrell's
that.
popping head
Yeah, yeah,
cicada. That's what it's called today. You're right.
yeah. And so Dave ties on the Harrell popping head cicada, and he makes a cast. I'd already had two or three refusals. And the first cast, this fish comes up and sucks his cicada in. Well, you know, Dave fights the fish, and you know, it's all exciting, and we go up the bank a little farther, and you know, I'm casting my fly out that I've already tied on. That's, you know, again, this is a pattern that I'd already, you know, that's out there and people been using, and I keep getting refusals. Well, the next cart that we come to, Dave cast to, that that fish sucks it in. You know, I don't know if you do a lot of fishing, but you know, fishermen get a little bit stubborn. They're like, I'm Dave's like, you want one of these flies? I'm like, well, I don't know. I believe I'll just use this fly. Well, about four carp later, that that, that Dave catches, I'm like, Dave, you're gonna have to give me one of these flies, you know, and so I tie on one of these flies, and for the next 2 hours, Dave and I go on to catch I mean, I don't know how many carp. Dave caught his personal best smallmouth. Now he broke it since then, but anyhow, um, Dave created this fly, and and um, and you know, we were out there that day, and that's what the fish wanted. They didn't want these other flies. I don't know why. Do not know why, but that is one of the coolest things in fly fishing that you could do is, first of all, you know, um, make your own baits or tie your own flies, then create something that, you know, you go out on the water and it's totally different than everything else that you've used. And it works, and it works better than the ones that you've got. So anyway, I had to tell that story. I'm sorry it's taking so
That's
long,
okay.
but my head was about to bust. I was trying to say something and I couldn't say it. But anyway, all right, Dave, you get back to tying your saltwater fly.
No, and thank you for the kind words. I wouldn't have said that about me, but thank you, and great days on the water with Shannon. Talking. I'll end the cicada here. Uh, and I think I mentioned earlier, new materials come out every year. There's an innovative fly tire named Blaine Chocolate, and these are wings. Okay, and they come in clear, they come in orange. They're hot off the market. I hadn't seen a fly tied with it. What's cool, this is cicada. What's cool is, man, those really look good. Now, how do I incorporate this wing into a material? Well, I first looked at it and I thought, that's a little too orange. So what I did was kind of colored it in with the permanent marker, some black. And anyhow, I've said all that just simply to say I'm still working on a new pattern. It's not ready for prime time today, but what do you do? That's got to be cool. It's going to be. It's just going to. I'm still experimenting. How do I incorporate those wings into a cicada pattern? So, get to this and talking about Shannon. I never really thought a lot. I'm a trout fisherman. I'm from south here in East Tennessee, and uh, Shannon calls me one winter day and says, "Hey, Dave, what do you think about saltwater fishing?" I said, "Well, I don't know. I don't think about it. What do you think about bonefish in the Bahamas?" I'm like, I don't know. Never thought about it. He said, "Well, let's go." So this started this. Well, good golly, what kind of fly do you tie? And so this was years ago, and we've evolved and learned things. I'm going to tie a shrimp pattern. One of the, as I said, a day like today, doldrums. It's cloudy. It's cold. It's what are you going to do all day? Well, I'm going to tie a pattern. I have a trip to the Bahamas in February. So you're always dreaming about what's coming up. Okay. And so I'm going to tie this. This is the biggest shrimp pattern that I tie. We tie them in different sizes with different weights for different applications. Okay, so this is a bigger one we're in a little deeper water, maybe more turbulent water. But here we go. I know we have a saltwater fisherman uh, on the call, so I hope I don't screw this up. It's a we're going to tie a shrimp pattern. I just tied in tied in a bead chain eye. You just cut them off. So at your house with the lamp, you pull a chain, right? This is the chain. That's all it is what you turn your light or ceiling fan on with is all it is. I just cut them.
Dave, is that from the lamp in the living room?
Well, the lamp in the living room we can't turn on because I've already used all the bead chains. But yeah, something like that. And I'm gonna weave the. We can't turn the light on at the house because Shannon got me into saltwater fishing. I blame him. So I put the bead chain eyes on the top. And I'll explain more about this as we go, but it looks to me like I'm spot on, that it's all level. But what I'll do, I'll take it off the vise and set it down, and I want to know, is that hook riding straight up? Well, I've tied a bunch of these, and by good fortune it is. Sometimes I think I'm straight and I'm not. I want this thing right up. Okay, so here we go. Bead chain eye. This is large bead chain eyes. Tie them in different sizes, different weights, and want to get the tail on. And this material for our saltwater friend, is a mylar rope. There's a cord. There's a cord in the middle of this. I keep moving the cord back because I don't use the cord, but for tying minnow bodies. So I'm going to cut a section of this off, and I'm simply going to tie it on. Yeah, I'm actually going to, let me get a little bit bigger. This is big. Like I said, this is the biggest one I tie. Let me get this right. Little pinch technique, keep material on top of the hook. Here we go. I'm going to tie this down. And I'm going to go down the bend. And I'm going to go a ways down the bend, and here's why. I'm even going to go a little further. Going to tease this out. That becomes the tail of the shrimp. Okay, and why I'm tying it way down the bend is the bead chain eyes. What they're going to do, they're going to turn this fly is going to ride hook up. It's going to sink, and I'm going to pull it, and the hook's going to be up, which is really good for coral and what I'm pulling it through. So that tail's going to be up. I kind of tie this pattern. I do a little dance. Shrimp is good about what color shrimp. Well, where they living? Is it pink coral and they're pink? Is it sand and they're sand colored? They blend in very well. Oh, I want to blend in, but I don't want to blend way in or those bonefish aren't going to find it. They're swimming real fast. Oftentimes they're on the move and they need to pick this thing up. So we have our bead chain eyes in, we have our tail, and what we're going to tie is some uh, uh, diamond braid flat. Is a flat braid material. This is all saltwater stuff. I'm going to tie it. I'm going to tie it in pink because I know in February where I'm going fishing, it's mostly a sand bottom. I want a little contrast. I don't want to be gaudy with the fly, but I want those bonefish to be able to see it. So we're going to go back down with the braid. Right back to where we start. A lot of I'll show this here in a minute. Actually, a lot of measurements, in fly tying. How far down, your thread, you take your thread to a certain point. You're thinking about a thorax. Tim asked about a Renzetti vise off the get go. So a Renzetti vise is a true rotary vise. So I hadn't used it much. Again, a little whip finish. I'm gonna secure my thread, and I'm going to use the rotator here, the rotation of this vise, and we're going to build a body.
So you're
with that.
you're making it thicker, and by rolling it up again.
Yes. And I'm not worried about a lot here. It's all going well. When I get close to the eye, I'm going to go back just a little bit. I'm going to build a little taper. Here we go. Back up. And again, it's riding. It's actually upside down at this exact moment to how this fly looks to the fish. So I'm going to tie the braid off. There we go.
Dave, did you ask a question? I don't mean to interfere.
No, please get in here, buddy.
You when you first started, you talked about making sure the beads were level. Is that so it lays upright, sets upright on the bottom? Is that what that's for?
That's exactly what I'm trying to accomplish. If I think I've got it right, and it's kind of cockeyed in some way, I don't know. That may affect the motion, the movement. So I'm trying to avoid that. So we've got the body tied in. It's a pink. I'm going to coat it again. I'm back, but now I'm back to a clear finish. I'm going to coat this fly because think about what I'm doing here. I'm stripping this thing against some coral, some sand, some rocks, some whatever. I want to make this fly durable. So I'm going to put my UV on it. This is a Bachkian. all kinds of Bachians, but I use it. You use it to apply or tease out some trapped material. That may happen at some point today. So I've got it on pretty generous coating. Let me get the one of the tough things in learning to tie these flies. We're on a beach chain eye. You don't want this thing spinning around. You want to get everything locked in. You do not want this turning when you're fishing, or it's not going to look natural, and it's going to affect you. So there, I've applied that, and I'm UV light. I can turn this light off. You might see this thing's really glowing now. I'm gonna let that sit, and it sits up fast. This ain't gonna take a minute, and we're good.
Brenda, I don't know if you're still in here, but we can drop these in your saltwater aquarium and see what they look like in the ocean. If we turn the right lights on, anyway.
Do you still have fish, Tim?
We don't right now. We're getting ready to fire it back up. We
Okay,
haven't had
that's
any
cool.
since we moved up here, but
Next, what I'm going to do is simply tie in rubber legs. I'm trying to give this thing some motion. Again, don't want to be too gaudy, but I want these fish who are really cruising to be able to find it. I want this thing to lay on the bottom, again, hook up, but be moving. So this is the way the fish is the shrimp is going to. So I've got rubber legs on either side. There we go. Next, using a little bit of craft fur. This is if you're wanting a name. This isn't a me pattern. This is called a gotcha. There are two flies that if you're fishing saltwater, permit, baby tarpon, certainly bonefish, which is my the gotcha pattern, and I want this wing, if you will, be about twice the size, twice as long as the body. I'm going to tie it on top.
So
again, this is how it's writing. Now keep that in mind. It may look like backwards, but here's how we're writing.
were you gonna say something, Shannon?
Yeah, I was just going to say, somebody created all these flies, right? And this fly is called the gotcha, and there were two guys out on a flat, trying to figure out what to throw to these bonefish so they'd eat it, right? They're out there trying to figure out, what fly they can tie. And so they go back to their vice, and they're like, they've created this fly. It looks fairly simple, but if you can imagine, somebody's out there, and this happened, this saltwater fishing, um, um, I only started to get popular maybe in the 1950s and 60s, right? So in fly fishing terms, it's not really been that long ago. So, this fly got its name because finally these guys figured out a fly that, these bonefish would eat. And it's told that the inventor of it, the first several fish that he caught, he would holler out, "I got you," right? And so that's how this fly got its
Oh,
name. So anyway, I just had to throw that out.
no, I appreciate the commentary. And you're right, and it's people. A lot of our legends in fly fishing, fly tying, unfortunately, have passed. And Flip Pallet, uh, uh, was out here fishing in saltwater with the fly rod. Lefty Cray, these guys, they're past, and we're continuing on. So, what I'll do with this, just to give it a little bit of contrast with the Sharpie, I'm just going to bar this a little bit.
John made a comment there, and I was going to, Shannon just said that when saltwater fishing, fly fishing got popular in the 50s, 40s, 50s, maybe 60s, and I think some of that coincided with people being able to uh, present fishing on TV in a way that people were interested, and film it and things
Yeah.
like that. And I think the more of that, it's kind of like today. Today we're living in a world where we can put this online and people can see it, but it worked the same way with film and TV, and it's just progressed through the years. And I think that had a lot to do with why some of this stuff picked up in popularity. Because people like me growing up in East Tennessee, if I hadn't seen those kind of guys fishing on TV, I wouldn't have known that they did that kind of stuff.
No, and I like I said, watching Kurt Gowdy, watching Lee Wolf in Southeast Kentucky, where I grew up, and I mean, it was about the same thing as watching man land on the moon. Uh, I remember it just seemed so exotic. It seemed so far out of my reach. It was like a magic trick, right? It just seemed impossible to go do something like that, and I don't take it for granted. I don't take it for granted. Uh,
Yeah.
last, I'm going to add a little crystal flash just to give it a little shimmer, and I'm only going to add 4 strands. Again, don't want to get gaudy with it, but it needs a little something here. So here we go. And I'm gonna tie that crystal flash just a wee bit longer, the 4 strands than what we're calling a wing here. Although, and then I'm going to get the legs. So this should sit, this should sit on the bottom, okay? And it's a tide, right? And water's moving, and all of this stuff I've tied in should be swaying, okay? And hopefully get the fish's attention. And then again, the whip finisher, we're going to save all of our work.
Shannon, did you want to add something?
Well, I'm a storyteller. Okay, I'm not very.
Well,
I'm not
you're in the
very.
right place then,
Yeah,
buddy.
I'm not very good at time flies, but I can tell a story. Okay,
Now,
so
now.
Yeah. Now Dave mentioned us thinking about this trip right to the Bahamas. I call him up. We decide to go on this trip, and this trip is a 7 day trip, but the reality of it is when you start tying flies and you start and you have to get ready for, because when you go someplace like the Bahamas, there's not a store to go buy flies. There's not a store to buy a fishing line or a fishing rod. When you show up there, you've got to have everything that you need to catch a fish.
Yeah.
And so we started planning a year in advance, and we started tying these flies way before the trip. And that's a part of the trip. That's a part of the experience. We were so excited. We were looking at different types of flies to tie. Now, me and Dave, this is one of several flies that we tied. We're out there looking on YouTube. But anyway, I'm gonna get to the trip real quick, and I won't take very long, hopefully. But we go during COVID. All right, we fly in. Here is two East Tennessee boys flying, going to the Bahamas. We've never been any place like this before. It's during COVID. We get off of this little, I don't know what type of plane it was, but I mean, like 6 or 7 people can get in this plane. And we land on Andros Island. We get out, we get in a minivan. So we get this place that it's a do-it-yourself fishing uh, place. I mean, it's not a resort. I'm just telling you this right now. Okay. And Uncle, what's his name, Dave?
Well, I
Uh,
called him Uncle Rico, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
I might not should have said. I'm
yeah,
not really sure, but yeah,
yeah. So,
Uncle so
so,
and so.
so this place is owned by a family, and Uncle, whatever his name, picks us up in a minivan, and we're going down this 1 lane road about 60 miles an hour to get to where the camp is. And we get there, we go down this 1 lane road, we drive for 30 minutes, and then we go down a dirt road that's about 20 minutes long. And we show up, and we're the only people that's staying there because it's COVID, and everybody else that's supposed to be there at that time is sick.
Yep.
So me and Dave, I mean, literally, we're there by ourselves in the middle of nowhere, Bahamas, and and we've got our flies, we got our rods, and we're all excited about getting out fishing, and you know, and we've got, I don't know, about 2 miles worth of shoreline or flats that we can fish all to ourselves. It's pretty cool. But it's me and Dave trying to figure this out. The people that own the place, they didn't know anything about fishing. The only thing they were going to do is make sure that we had some food, and and so we had to set out on our own to figure out how to catch these fish. And by the end of the week, we had figured out how to catch some of these fish. And y- we found this flat. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, it's about 2 miles. So we had to walk about 2 miles, carrying everything we got
Yeah.
to get to this flat. There's stingrays, there's starfish, there's all these other fish out. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, like I said, two East Tennessee boys never been here before, and so um, we figured out kind of how to catch some, and I was throwing this same gotcha fly, and here comes a school of about 100 bonefish
Oh wow.
across this flat. And I see him, I get in position, because you kind of have to, you have to sneak up on them, right? You got to be stealthy. It's like hunting, It's like you can't let them see you, and so I cast to them. The school gets to where I think my fly is. I make a few strips, and I have a fish on. And now, if you've ever caught a bonefish, I mean, these fish are like an explosion. When you hook into them, they run as fast. I mean, they swim as fast as they can swim, and they're stripping every bit of the line off your rod. There's and as soon as I hook this fish, Dave is over here beside me, and it runs right straight toward Dave. And I'm like, Dave, Dave, get out of the way. Here comes the fish, right? And so Dave, he gets out of the way. But the funny thing is, everywhere Dave went, that fish ran after him. And so here's Dave high stepping across this flat. I've got 200 yards of fly line out, and this fish is running after Dave. I don't know why. I'm screaming, Dave, get out of the way. And the harder Dave ran, the faster that fish ran toward Dave. And so, like, this fish was going to run. I mean, but anyway, you should have seen. Now, that could have been caught on. I mean, if I'd had a camera, here's two East Tennessee boys out in a flat in the middle of nowhere. I'm screaming, and Dave's high stepping across this flat trying to get away from this bonefish so I can catch it. So, anyway, that's my story. But I mean, it was an awesome trip. And anyway, I just want to say, tying these flies, it's not about necessarily just having like Chris said, it's not saving money. I mean, the next thing you know, you're on a plane going to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
But it's a part of the fishing experience, right? And we
Kind of
started
making your
tying
own
these.
bow.
Say that again.
Well, because I started to say it's kind of like somebody might make their own bow to go to Africa for the trip of a lifetime to go to Africa, and Mark made a bow that he could take down and put on the plane so he could go bow hunting in Africa last
That
year.
is awesome. That's awesome.
I mean, it's along the same line. I mean, he's done other things. We all been in that kind of a circle. So maybe not fishing, but it's part of the trip. It's part of getting there. It's part of building up to the trip. It's important. It's important stuff, and it makes story. Here's why none of us can get through a day on a show like this in a few minutes is because we're all storytellers. We've got stories to tell about all this stuff because when you do all these things, something's going to go wrong. Something's going to happen special. Something's going to happen that needs to be talked about. And you just can't, I mean, you have to.
I'm still having a hard time picturing Dave high stepping.
Well, I thought that too, but I wasn't going to say anything.
Well, let me tell you, it was mission critical, and Shannon was barking orders. They could probably hear him in Nassau screaming at me. But no, last point, and a good point. If you've ever hired a guide here, okay, in the U.S., literally all you have to do is show up. They've got a rod, they have a reel, they have their flies that they're going to use. I mean, if you could get to the boat ramp at the appropriate time, the rest of the day's got nothing to do about you. In the Bahamas, even with the guy, Shannon's talking about DIY, which we prefer, but there isn't a rod or reel, flies. You better show up. There's just no. So I tied this fly today. I'll show you this. Here's the goal for February. It is for me to fill this fly box, hopefully with the right flies, the catch a bonefish. And if something in this box, if these things in this box doesn't work, I'm not catching a fish. So we worked hard at doing it, but this is the gotcha is one of the work horses. Tie them in different sizes, different weights, different situations. So here's why I tied today's is thinking about an upcoming trip.
I like that. I like that crab you got there. I saw a crab in that fly in that
I do
box.
have they do eat crabs. So and you might you might luck up and get a shot. One of the guys where we stayed actually got a shot at a permit. Now this is a bone
wow.
fishing trip, but I will have two or three. I'll have some other stuff, including barracuda flies, which I have to tie on a wire called a bite wire. If I get a shot at a barracuda, a lot of people, oh no, me, I'm all in it. I'm gonna take my shot if I get it. Tim, do I have time to tie one more?
Well, you do for me. I don't know if anybody else needs to get going.
I'm good. I'm completely content with today. I appreciate this was better than this has worked out better. The technology, the interaction, more importantly.
Tina says yes. So if you want to go ahead and tie one, Dave, go for it.
I'll tie one that may have application for Tina, thinking about the Catskills, thinking about where she is, and I know a little bit about that country. I chase a little. I don't know if I should tell all this, but chase a little music, and there's a band called Donna the Buffalo up in Tina's neck of the woods that I've spent a little time with.
Dave, you're retired now. You can let that all out.
Shoot, what I'm going to do? I'm going to tie a caddis fly, and I'm not really doing anything special with it per se. I'm going to make one adaptation. Here's what you're allowed to do when you tie your own flies is think of little, not big, but always, but little adaptations. Okay. This is a caddis pattern. It's a soft tackle pattern, kind of a general sort of a pattern, very effective. We have a tan caddis that comes off, and I'm sure this is applicable to everybody. And it's generally tied with a metal bead, meaning it's going to sink down. Where Chris and I fish, the Holston River has got quite a bit of vegetation in it. The Hiawassee can get low water. They're both tailwaters. And I've only made one little modification. Rather than a metal bead to get this fly down, I'm using a glass bead to kind of keep it more up top. I said the word soft tackle. What I mean by that, this is a genre of flies. It's an emerger pattern. It's tied with hen hackle, sometimes quail, uh, Hungarian partridge is the main, and that's what I'll do here. Is the main. Mark will know all about that bird. But how you fish it is in moving water, right? You fish it, I throw it to a 45-degree angle downstream and just let that fly swing across the current. Okay, that's how we fish these kind of flies. We fish quite a few. I mean, we could do a whole podcast on just soft tackles.
Yeah, Dave kind of turned me on to soft tackles when the first time I went with him to the Clinch River.
It was the first thing. So I'm going to put the bead on. Here's you another tool, Tim. You need to run out and buy tonight. How you get the bead on a hook? Well, I use these tweezers made for it, and just kind of put it on. And then I shot the first.
It's right here.
Hang on. Okay.
I saw that one. I saw that one go flying.
Okay, strike one, ladies and gentlemen. Catch it, Chris, because I might strike out here.
Yeah, this is the hardest part about that.
This is it for this fly. I'm going to do this one more time. My light's not exactly. Okay, here we go.
There you go. Success.
I would normally in this application, folks, crimp the barb. I am actually tying with the barbless hook. This is a size 16 hook, and all it is, there's a bunch of these things out here. This is a fooling mill hook. That doesn't matter. I want a light wire. You can tie it in a heavier wire too. A light wire application, and
Tina, they get smaller than that.
Just below. This is an emerging pattern. We want to tie. We want to tie flies to represent all phases of life. We're a caddis, mayfly, stonefly, whatever. But and I like that glass bead. What I'm going to do, I'll get it back to the glass bead here in a second. Again, I'm going to cut this thread off.
I love that thing. I love that thing you tie it off with. I just could play with that all day, probably.
Well, and it takes a minute. It's a funny tool. It spins around. I mean, who invents stuff like this? But it's a staple. There's another. There's a lot of tools that have this. Let me find my camera. This kind of end where you could simply do a half hitch tool and a half hitch knot. 2 half hitch knots equal a whip finish knot if you want to get into that. But I prefer. So I want this bead. This is a little bit of an odd position. I want this bead to not be. Generally, we tie a bead in. We tie it at the eye. we're going to do something a little different here today. And I wanted a an eye length back. Here we go. You better get one of these too, Tim, while you're at the because proportions are important for a lot of these. So what I'm going to do is get this in. I'm going to jump the bead. I'm going to jump the bead. I want it. This is going to become important here in a minute. And get that bead in. I don't want that bead sliding around. This will be important. So we've got our bead situated.
Hey, Dave.
Now, if I can find the bag that's got, oh, here we go. Okay.
Hey, Dave.
Uh-huh.
Where are your midge hooks, like size 20 or 22s?
Probably over there, second drawer. And Crystal Flash, it seems like I've used that a lot today. I'm going to tie this in for the rib. Okay.
Did you say what you were making?
Yeah, this is if I didn't, my apologies.
Well, you might have.
No, I may not have. This is a caddis pattern, and it's called the Holy Grail.
Oh, well, you did mention that earlier.
And
yeah.
if you look it up, it's tied with a tungsten or a brass bead. For a lot of fishing we do, it's pulling it. You're fishing on the swing, as I said. But it's getting tangled in the bottom, and so I've done. I've substituted a glass bead, in this instance, a clear bead for a tungsten, for a heavier bead. Okay,
and you've done that so it floats more than Bob.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it up. It's going to swing in the surface. I just don't want it that low. That's my application.
Right.
I'm going to dub. I'm going to do something called a dub here. There's two kinds of dubbing. One for dry fly applications, meaning you want to keep it on top of the water. This we do not want to keep on top of the water, just in the surface film. So I'm using a hare's ear blend. So it's rabbit. It has spiky little dubbing. And I'm just putting. I'm taking what I'm doing. It just taking this stuff. This is dubbing. I'm just applying it directly to the thread.
Did you wet your fingers or something to?
I just, you could use there. You can actually use a dubbing wax for this. I generally don't. I just tie it on and go. I guess I've eaten enough hamburgers and got enough grease that I don't know why. I don't seem to. And I'm going to add just a little bit more. Easier to add than it is to take off. Okay.
What was it I used to use? That's interesting you said that, and not change the subject, or chase the squirrel, but there was something we used to do where we would rub the inside of our nose to get a little bit of oil off our skin, and we'd apply that to something.
Yeah.
I have to remember what that was.
Well, we used to rub the ferrules on your rod alongside your nose
Oh, yeah, I've done that too. That's right.
and then slip those rod ends together.
That may be exactly what I was thinking about because, yeah.
Okay. Now I'm stopping this. So I'm about an eye length back still behind the bead. Okay. And this is going to become ribbing. I'm going to counter rib a lot of flies we use have a ribbing. Okay. And this is a little flashy. Okay, I've got the rib in. I'm going to tie it off. You can see it's kind of spiky. Those guard hairs, again, this isn't dry fly. It's with the guard hairs. And now I'm going to tie a wing case. So what we're tying and what we'll tie, you know, the different stages of excuse me, a caddis life cycle. We want to imitate them all and have those in our box. Our next material is a pheasant tail. We use pheasant tail. I mean, we could do a whole podcast on pheasant tail. It's kind of critically important to what we're doing. I'm going to take about 12 right off the skin. Here we go, and I'm going to reorient, and I'm going to cut the tips off. This is when the fly is emerging up from a nymph, a pupa coming up the water. This is not in an adult form, but it's right before it turns to that. So I'm back. I'm back now. I've got my wing case tied in. I'm going back to the same tan dubbing. I'm going to tie in a little bit less this time. A little heavy-handed on dubbing today, I feel. So here is that the bottom part we just did is the abdomen. This is the thorax. There we go. Okay, we're all tied in. Now the wing case is going to come over, and again, I'm going to jump that bead. I'm going to get around it. I'm going to get in front of it. I'm going to tie her down. You should be seeing a wing case here. I'm going to cut this off at an angle. Okay. And what to add a little durability, that I'm just going to touch it. I'm back again to the UV resin. Let me put that on top. And this is just such a good. We have a lot of canned caddises here. They could be. There's 16. It's rather small, on the small side. A caddis. Mark probably sees them in 14s, and then out west here. But here's where we are. Let me hit it with the UV light for a second. Okay. We're looking okay. The final material is the hackle, and like I said, a main when you're tying these subsurface flies, Hungarian partridge is just a staple. You have to have one of these skins. I use these lighter colors for mayflies, and I'll find a little darker one for a caddis. Now that may just be more me than factual, but that's how I roll. And so we just pulled Hungarian partridge feather. I'm going to get rid of these wispy ends. And then I'm going to measure it. I want it to extend just a little beyond. A caddis wing goes a little past the body. Typically, the mayfly does not. Okay. Couple ways to tie this in. I'll go for today with the more. I don't always tie it in quite like that. Maybe make my first attempt to do it like you would see it on a video. I have hackle pliers, and I've trapped it. Okay, I'm going to sweep everything back. Have a bare stem, have my hackle, preening everything back, and so now I've got this. I'm going to come in and cut the tip. Just make a little, okay, a little spot. This is my tie-in point. Okay, I'm going to tie her down. I see I have a couple barbulars sticking up here. Let me clean this thing up. Do not want to crowd the eye. That's the thing about. I'm going to put my hackle pliers back on the bare stem. And 2 wraps will be sufficient. I'm going to tie it off. I mean, this thing's supposed to look ugly and bugly, and that may be my specialty in fly tying. This thing, cut off the stem. I'm going to sweep it all back. Let me get my light just a little better. This is pretty intricate. And then one last time with the whip finisher. Don't crowd the eye. You got to be able to get that tippet in there. 1, 2, 3 turns, and we're done. That's a pretty buggy caddis. Caddises come off, a lot of different species, but this is a good searching pattern. This works well. Tim, that's all I have today.
they'd like to see one of our midge hooks.
Okay.
Yeah, could you hold a midge hook up, Dave, with your tweezers beside that one?
Yeah.
Well, you want me to get one up for you?
Yeah, get me a 22 out.
That
Yeah,
way
we get pretty small. Chris is digging.
Yeah, the tricky part is they're so small, and I don't have my glasses. Let's see here.
I thought I had a little box of flies back here that you gave me, Dave, a long time ago now.
Okay, Dave, this
Now I
is
can't remember where I've got them put up at. I'll have to find them.
So we're talking about hooks. This is on a 16. It might even be for some places a little small of a caddis. 16's about
That's
right
a-
for if I can get them to 18.
it's actually.
I know something I was going to ask, Dave. But
And here by contrast,
let me get there, Tina. That's a little hook.
That's size 21.
Let me see.
Back a little bit, Dave.
Back it up towards your other one.
Get in here, Chris.
I
I
got
can't.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to compare. I mean, that's
And
a
those are
little bitty.
midges. Midges are a big part of fishing our tailwaters here in the east.
Yeah.
They come off year round.
Dave, you mentioned something when you started tying. It's just if you don't mind, just a little elaborate, just a tiny bit. You mentioned bending the barb or using barbless hooks. Why do you do? Explain why you do that.
Yeah. So thank you, Tim. So what we do with trout, we're catching release. Okay. Number one, don't want to hurt the fish. So a barbless hook is better. Number two, there are some places that state regulations say only barbless hooks. So you would be in violation fishing with the hook with the barb. Number three, and as important as all the three, fly fishing, you're slinging this thing around. It's easier to dig a barbless hook out of your arm or out of your face or out of your friend's head, right? If it's barbless. So 3 reasons to go barbless.
I think Mark had a comment there. I think.
I had a what?
Oh, I thought you were going to say something.
Oh, I was just going to say I've never had any confidence in those little teeny tiny hooks, especially out here. But there are patterns that are tied up that are you need to use that teeny tiny hook. And
Yeah,
Mark, I've caught 20 to 21 inch trout on a size 22 hook before.
yeah,
You just got to play them.
It's what they're eating. I mean, it gets challenging, and that's a lot of, especially winter fishing. But you can get fish rising to those little midges on top water. It can be good, but yeah, I mean, if you don't have to, I understand that.
well,
guys,
our winter fishing here, most winters, you're just laying your fly down on the ice anyway. So,
Mark, where are you from? Where are you at? Oh.
laying it down on the ice. Oh me. Well, guys, I appreciate this a lot, and I mean I've enjoyed this. I I see us doing some more of this kind of stuff, to be honest. And
This has worked
really
surprisingly
the
well.
crazy thing about this is it, we're talking fly fishing here and fly tying, and but once again, what we've done here is opened up the hillbilly pen, and we've got two more of us in here talking about stuff that a lot of people don't think we know anything about, I think. And it's kind of interesting because you end up with a lot of stories, and you end up with a lot of good information wrapped up in a story or two here and there. So I definitely hope we can do this some more. Are you saying you don't do a whole lot of fishing in the wintertime? Tina's wanting to know if you're saying you don't really fish much in the winter, Mark.
Well, you just can't cast a fly rod.
No, you have to drill a hole in the ice if you're going to most of the time out there in the winter.
Dave and I have been out on the Clinch River in I think it was January a few years ago, and it was only 20 degrees out, but the water wasn't frozen. Remember that?
Yeah, no, we're fortunate here. I mean, if you can dress appropriately, you can fish all year. We don't have open and closed seasons. Like Tina in New York, you do. You have an opening day of trout season and a closing day. Yeah, we could go. We could go all year if need be.
It's you're back to Tim's comment about hillbillies and not knowing much. There's not a lot of people can tie a caddis and tell you what a green persimmon tastes like.
Yeah.
So, there you go. There's a good point.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, if you ate a green persimmon, you're lucky to be able to talk.
It takes a little while to wear off.
We used to have the city kin come out and live with the rural people in the summertime, and that was a lot of fun. Giving them a green persimmon
and watching the reaction. Well, guys, I think I'm gonna shut this down. And if Mark, can you hang around a few more minutes?
Yeah, I just want to say I'm amazed that this went off really, really well.
I think it did too, and I really would like to do some more of it. So
Thank
we're going to talk
you.
about that.
Thank you, Mark and Tim, and I'd like to thank Chris who got over here early this morning, and Tim. We've been experimenting all week. This has given us. I've got some ideas to better perfect this going forward. So yeah, if you're into it, we can keep getting better at it and encourage people to keep coming. This was a lot of fun for me, and I thank you for the kindness.
Oh, and Tim, on a technical aspect, I'm going to go look for that cable for that other camera.
Okay, that'd be good. That'd be good. All right, here's what I'm going to do. John said, thank you, an awesome show, as we say here in Jersey, tight lines.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tight lines.
Yeah, tight lines. Thank you. Come on down to Tennessee.
No, he got a brother that just lives over the mountain here from me, Dave, over around Sneedville. So he keeps one of these days he's going to come down. Maybe we can take him fishing sometime.
Oh, love it, absolutely. Let's do it.
Springtime's the best time to come down, or October.
Well, guys, here's what's going to happen. You guys just hold tight. I'm going to end the stream, and it may look like it's cutting off, but you guys aren't going to go anywhere because you're in the studio, as they call it. So,
thanks everybody again. The pleasure was all mine.
Thank you, Dave, and Shannon, and Chris, and Tina, and John, and Chuck, and whoever else is still out there. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit through, see a new kind of version of the show, if you will. And we joke, Mark and I joke, we chase a lot of squirrels and rabbits on our show because we talk about things like that. And chasing fish and hunting bonefish on the flats in the Bahamas is just another aspect of that. So it all fits in. And I think I like that a lot. Gives us another aquatic aspect of our culture, Mark. So anyway, guys, thank you all for being here. And if you get bad weather, be safe. Be careful out there. Hopefully nobody's going to lose their power. And, if you do, hopefully you can get someplace where you can stay warm. I don't know what we're going to get now. We were supposed to get some ice. Maybe we get some rain. It was kind of like maybe whatever we got here would just be wet and it'd melt off. So I'm not too worried about it. But time will tell. That'll probably be the one that gets me. Usually it is.
Yeah.
But thank you, John. And all right, everybody. See you again next week. Have a great weekend.
You too.